This is a review of the MacBook Pro M3 Max, 16-inch unbinned, 1640, with 48GB of unified RAM, running DaVinci Resolve. This review will not consist of the trendy and often impractical YouTuber benchmark tests, but rather will focus on real-world efficiency within Resolve, testing stability when running things like noise reduction and optical flow on 4K, 10-bit 422 footage. Do note, this test will run without proxies or Timeline Proxy Resolution, utilizing the full demand of 4K video on the system's 16 CPU and 40 GPU cores. Maxed out, DaVinci Resolve's RAM usage is limited to 36GB, allowing, on this system, the 16 additional gigabytes of memory for unrelated tasks outside of video production. Throughout this video, attention should be focused on the playback frame rate indicator light, which, if red, means the system is taxed and struggling to maintain smooth playback, and the final look can no longer be viewed in real time. We will begin simply by observing how Resolve handles a heavily graded 25-node structure over 4K 60 frames per second, 10-bit 422 footage in a 24 frames per second timeline. Playback appears very smooth and is not compromised. Let's go further in our attempt to tax the system and utilize retime and scaling, with specifications set to optical flow and enhanced faster. The playback stuttered momentarily initially during playback, but corrected itself quickly after the dissolve fade. We now have smooth full FPS playback once again. Taking it a step further still, we will change the motion estimation specification to enhanced better. It is here we've finally noticed a sustained, compromised playback. The system is taxed beyond its ability to smoothly play the footage at 24 frames per second. Though it should be noted, this level of processing is highly demanding and not generally used to this extent. Next up is temporal noise reduction, a common method of removing noise from video that is not as destructive to the image as spatial noise reduction. When utilized within typical parameters, we see that playback is compromised but does not look terrible. Let's see if we can improve this by turning off some of the harsher nodes in this grade, like grain and highlight bloom. We see a marked improvement by turning off grain and highlight bloom and have a near-perfect playback, just falling short of 24 frames per second. Let's take pause and appreciate that it is more than impressive. With the unbinned M3 Max, we now have the ability to see temporal noise reduction on 4K 10-bit footage in near real time. Spatial noise reduction will destabilize smooth playback much farther. However, as previously stated, spatial noise reduction can be destructive to the image and is not often used. Here it is worth noting, despite this being a 4K test, that by dropping the Timeline Proxy Resolution to half, from 4K to 1080p, the playback with both temporal and spatial playback together is flawless. This is highly impressive. If you found this review useful, please feel free to request additional tests to be performed within DaVinci Resolve on the unbinned M3 Max. Upcoming tests include Scatter by Video Village and Dehancer. Special thanks to Rifty Beats for the music in this video. Liking and subscribing is always appreciated.